I just took 2 doses of Hape, the Amazonian snuff, and the people who watch my glass bead game in German Glasperlenspiel know what it means. So please go check it at the beginning of the last episode of Glasperlenspiel. I introduce you to the secret art of snuffing, an old wisdom that the shamans of the Amazons developed to create peace of mind and of the world. So today we're back with V podcast. Afterwards, I did V live stream and then Glass Beat games. I drifted off into a monastery of Hermann Hesse. And yesterday I decided I need to, just like Josef Knecht in Glass Beat game, he went out into the world. There's something missing. He's perfectly happy in this monastery, this secluded, this coddled, pampered, spoiled, extremely secured prison that a monastery is. And now I want to go out into the world and meet this guru. I just saw on Wikipedia that is also a god man. A god man is the definition is in India. Of course, there are a lot of god men. No one thinks it's politically incorrect to say you're a god man. God man is a colloquial term used in India for a type of charismatic guru. So maybe even Milo or David Icke or Joe Rogan is a god man because he's charismatic. He's kind of like a guru. He has a large loyal following that is often raised to a demigod like figure by his cult following. They usually have a high profile presence and are capable of attracting attention, the opposite of the mainstream media who are just doing fake news about Corona. So they attract attention and support from large sections of the society. And so not just from the rich or not just from the poor, not just from the left or the right, but from both, from all sections of society. Then you become godlike. And he had different names. I just see he was born Chandra Mohan Jain, but no one knows him as this name. In this book era, he was called Bhagwan Shri Rajneesh. And the section I'm going to read from this book is about the term Bhagwan, which means blessed one, used in Indian traditions as a term of respect for a human being in whom the divine is no longer hidden, but apparent. Later, when he changed his name, he would redefine the meaning of Bhagwan. Later, he called himself Osho. It's like a great master in Japanese. So, just by chance, my old self, this is at a playground. I remember in my childhood, maybe I was 10 or so, or maybe a little bit earlier, 7, 8. I found this clover, usually just 3, but if you're lucky, you find 4. Well preserved. Well done, David. Little David. Okay. You'll find a lot of good. Just type in YouTube or any other, maybe also on BitChute. You'll find him Osho and great interviews he gave. Was just a great improvisation artist too, a great unique thinker, great book writer. A lot of his cult followers just transcribed his conversation, his answers, his lectures. And in Pune, and also in the US, there was a famous movie documentary. You'll find the entertaining documentary of him, how he was popular in the US, but then got kicked out. Mm. Bhagwan, if there is no God, why are you being called Bhagwan? And Bhagwan's answer is, there is no God, but that does not mean that I'm an atheist. Certainly, I am not a theist. I'm saying there is no God, but that does not mean that you jump to the opposite, the atheist. The atheist says there is no God also. But when I say there is no God, and the atheists like Charvaka, Karl Marx, Lenin, Epicurus, when these people say there is no God, there is a tremendous difference between my statement and their statement. The statements are absolutely similar because I say at the same moment that there is godliness. Charvaka will not agree on that point. Epicurus, Marx, other atheists will not agree on that point. To them, denying God means denying consciousness. To them, denying God means the world is simply matter and nothing more, and whatever you see as consciousness is only a byproduct of certain matter put together, just a byproduct. Take those things apart, and the byproduct disappears. It is just like a bullock cart. You take the wheels away, you take other parts away, and each time you can ask, is this the bullock cart when you take the wheels away? Certainly the answer will be, it is not. No part is the whole. You can take by each part and remove the whole, and no single part was the bullock cart. And in the end, you can be asked, now, where is the bullock cart? Because we have not removed it. You have never said at any point that the bullock cart has been removed. Bullock cart was only a combination. It had no existence of its own. It was a byproduct. That's what Marx means when he says consciousness is an epiphenomenon. Remove the body, remove the brain, remove all that constitutes a man's being, you will not find anything like consciousness. And when you have removed everything, it is not that consciousness will be left behind. It was only a combination. You have taken the combination apart. So when I say there is no God, I am not agreeing with Marx or Epicurus. I'm certainly not agreeing with Jesus, Krishna, Moses, Mohammed, when they say there is God, because they use God as a person. Now, to think of God as a person is just your imagination. The God of the Chinese has a Chinese face, and the God of the Negroes has a Negro face. And certainly the God of the Jews must have a Jewish nose. It can't be otherwise. And if horses think about God, their God will be a horse. So this is just projection. Giving personality to God is your projection. When I say there is no God, I'm denying personality to God. I'm saying God is not, but there is tremendous godliness. That is an impersonal energy, pure energy. To impose any form on it is ugly. You are imposing yourself on it. Now, Jesus is calling God Father. Jesus must have a certain idea of what Father means. He is imposing on God the same idea. Now, there are in India religions which believe not in a father god, but in a mother goddess. The statue of their god is of a woman, the most beautiful woman that they can conceive, but it is a Hindu woman. Centuries have been going on, passing. Religions have been born, died, disappeared. Their gods have disappeared naturally. There is a place in India, Mohenjo-daro. It has been found to be the ancientmost city in the world. There are 7 layers in Mohenjo-daro. It seems that civilization had to face some calamity 7 times. When the first layer was found, it was thought that this is all. We have found Mohenjo-daro. That was determined to be 7,000 years old. But a little more digging and another city was found. Underneath the first city, which must have been 10,000 years old. Then the work continued. The people who were working on the excavation went on digging, and city after city, 7 cities have been found in Mohenjo-daro. The 7th seems to be at least 20,000 years old. They have temples, they have statues of God. Those civilizations have disappeared. Those people have disappeared. Their religions have disappeared. Their gods have disappeared. The Christian God will disappear the moment Christianity disappears. The Hindu gods will disappear the moment Hinduism disappears. Do you see what I mean to say? It is your projection. If you go on projecting, it is there. If you are not there to project it, if the projector is not there, the God disappears. I am not in favor of such gods, which have been projected by the tiny mind of man. And of course, the tiny mind of man is bound to give qualities to God, which are its qualities. The Jewish God in the Talmud says, I am an angry God. I am not nice. I am not your uncle. Now, this is perfectly meaningful in a Jewish context, but to a Hindu, God saying that I am an angry God is a sheer impossibility. Anger and God, they cannot meet. The Jewish God is perfectly angry. It is very Jewish, very human. And if you don't worship him, if you go against him, he will destroy you. He destroyed 2 cities because the people of those 2 cities were behaving sexually in a perverted way, and he was very much against it. Sodom and Gomorrah. These 2 cities he completely destroyed. This will not appeal to a Hindu. It is impossible. It will not appeal to the Mohammedan because the Mohammedan praise every day God, the compassionate one. Compassion is the very innermost quality projected by him towards God. Now, God can only be compassion, nothing else. The Mohammedan prays that just accepting your sin is enough because God is compassionate. You will be forgiven. Omar Khayyam, one of the great poets of Persian literature, says, don't prevent me from drinking wine, enjoying women, because God is compassionate. Don't tell me that I'm committing sin. Let me commit as many sins as possible. His compassion is far greater than all my sins combined together. To stop a certain activity in fear that you will be punished by God is to disbelieve in his compassion. Now, this is a different attitude, but these are all human attitudes. So when I say there is no God, I am saying there is no person as God. All personality is human projection.